and do the first part of it cleanly. Or at least get some people to survive the meteors.
Yeah, we need to find out what the operating distance of the meteors are. Like how fast you have to run to keep them from self-destructing. And of course confirm that there's actually only 2 per person.
Yep.
But we don't really need to know anything more to make our goal right now of just hitting all the towers in the first set. And thus not wiping to the towers exploding.
For sure. I was not seeing like a super obvious path for us actually being able to soak all those 8 towers after dropping those ice things, assuming that the ice things stay behind.
Oh, they do.
Yeah.
I wrote up some notes in the slides channel on my thoughts of how to handle various cursed patterns, including dealing with the towers after that.
Oh, how did I not see this?
I
must have cleared the notification and then just...
I think Math was also thinking about it as well, but he didn't post anything. A lot of slides, but it's just different variations.
You can now get anything delivered with Uber Eats.
Trying to come to a common rule set.
That doesn't mean you can eat anything you get. Burger, that is an eats.
These purple boys.
Paper towels, don't eat.
Boys.
Bottle of vino.
On your slide 4.
By drinking. Nanas.
I don't know. I'd have to go look at my slide 4. It's been a while.
Don't eat unless you're a good boy.
Oh, man.
Toothpaste.
Discord periodically does not want to allow clicking on links.
This game just got really hard.
Me.
It's an eats, but it's a don't swallows.
I don't know why. Oh, and I have to ask, any of you guys get any of the Uniqlo drop for Final Fantasy?
Oh, okay.
I was able to get 2 shirts.
They're the animation of wormholes.
The 14
from the
t-shirts were
Alexander
all sold
raids.
out, which makes me so sad. So I missed out on that opportunity.
It's just the most distinctive thing I could find in the toolkit.
I got 7 and I got 10. And don't get me wrong,
they're actually pretty
it's not that I don't love
sparse
the
as
others,
far
I
as
do,
assets
but I
built
don't have
into this
expendable
website.
finances to be buying 7 different shirts.
Sometimes things get weird.
I just got the 2 that I really
also
love
on slide 4, this thing here in the middle, is that a proximity or is that a knockback?
That have been like a huge part of my life.
It's supposed to be a knock. Technically, it's a proximity as far as the toolbox is concerned, but I believe it is a knockback, and that's what I'm trying to represent.
Oh, did we see people getting knocked back?
Nope, but we saw an Axe Knight spawn in the middle, and I went back into Thornton Extreme and looked. Grino is the guy who knocks us back at that one time. Hermahost.
Oh, yes.
Hermahost is the other Axe Knight. He is present earlier in this mechanic, offset from center, doing the towers. He's the guy who does towers. They all have a job, see.
He's a tower boy.
But Grino, specifically, I was never alive long enough to see him in the enemy list. You'd have to ask Cal or one of the tanks who was alive when the rocks were falling to see their VOD and so forth.
And my initial thing was like, no, I don't want to do it.
But I think it's pretty obvious that that's the only thing that makes sense. If there's 8 towers outside, and there's literally nowhere else to put those ice things, it has to be a knockback as those things are fading. It just makes sense. I mean, I could be wrong, but I'll be surprised if I am. In any case, that's not really necessary to understand what is perhaps a systematic way of handling the first set of towers. First slide has some text indicating the priorities. And this whole deck has like 3 or 4 different variations that it's trying to demonstrate. For now, I don't really care about adjusting for the praise. I'd rather people just practice the first set of towers.
Right.
But this is what the whole thing is probably going to look like.
I do think it says Grinnell. My stream is super pixelated because there's a lot of animations going on at that point in time. It does look like it says Grinnell, though.
I see.
And I can't read the other guy's name. Hodene? Houdenet? I can't make out the first letter if it's an H.
Yeah.
He's the one casting Holy Comet, though.
Mm-hmm.
The poll I'm looking at was... I guess I don't know if that'll be helpful. I don't know if you have an enemy list when you're dead.
Holy Comet. The meteors I thought was Cherubert or somebody like that.
Cherubert is in there earlier. He's casting...
Yeah. He might be casting the fire.
Oh, he didn't get a cast bar on this. What the heck?
He certainly animates something.
Heaven's Stake is what he does. Cherubert does.
Fake.
Heaven's Stake.
Oh. Oh.
What are y'all talking about? Are you just talking about the meteors?
Just the names of the casts that all these things
I fucked up. Like I think the one pool we got there, like I was recording, but I tabbed out, and my recording records my screen and not the client.
That's very unfortunate.
Yeah.
Regret.
A little bit, yeah. I was like, whatever, we're gonna die. I'm just gonna tab out.
Yeah.
And the one pool I do that, you see some new stuff.
Oh.
I guess I'll learn my lesson.
All right.
We have a lot of cleaning up to do anyway. No big deal. This early in the fight.
Trying to find Cal.
He said he would be late, wouldn't he?
Like, I thought you said you would be late. I don't remember whether Cal said.
Sorry, I'm eating. Wasn't today one of the days that he said that maybe he would be unavailable?
No,
and he was like, "No, actually, I will be available, but maybe I'll be late."
It might have been that. I can try to scroll up and find it. Yeah, 9th, 10th, and 17th were his sub days. Yeah. He said something like that. Then I missed it. Sent him a message. He's offline, so I don't know.
I really want to say he said he would be here today, but maybe like the second lockout.
That would be a bit of a surprise, I guess. We were talking about Wednesday, how he said he would not be available Wednesday, but he might actually be available.
This Wednesday?
This Wednesday. For at least an hour or so. And that's when I want to drop P4 on us in that case. Since I figure it's a good time to give him a scholar weapon.
Was he going to be out for sure tomorrow?
Yes, for sure tomorrow he is going to be out.
Do you have a red mage weapon?
Why? No.
Well, I might miss next week. And so if I do...
The entirety of next week?
I don't fucking know. I'm gonna... So I'm moving back to North Carolina, and I'm gonna ship my computer.
Yeah, you said it'd be over the weekend and up to the shipping gods.
Yeah.
But you think it's going to just vanish for a whole week?
I don't think that, but there's also a lot of stuff that I have to do in Texas still. And so that might delay me, and I might actually have to fly during our raid days.
Okay. Is there any way you can guess in advance, or is this going to be like a day of kind of thing?
It'll probably be a day of kind of thing. I think it's not likely.
That's going to be fun.
But if that does happen, maybe it would be good for you to have a red mage weapon, so you can play red mage.
Oh, well,
and Eli can play summoner.
Eli,
actually, you can play black mage too.
Eli can play summoner, and I can, in theory, play a crit black mage. It's not the end of the world.
No.
Right. So it'll be something to keep in mind for P4S this week, I guess. If a caster weapon drops.
Did Count say he just, like, independent of everything else, he just does want to play Scholar?
He's interested in trying it out to see if it's
for
more
playability, or like it's the mitigation's easier.
Not easier, just a better fit for certain mechanics.
Well, yeah, that would be easier.
But it's hard to say without knowing the whole fight what's actually easier, right?
Yeah, he's wanting the pet.
Yeah, remote healing is not something that Sage does particularly well. Those tend to be the tightest heal checks in an ultimate.
Yeah, thankfully though, like we all have personal shields, and the white mage can probably just like regen us or something, and in general we'll probably be fine.
We do have, I mean, I'm not saying Sage can't do it.
Yeah, I know, I'm not.
Right.
It's not like the end of the world if he does have to, though.
There's a lot of things we can do. It's not the end of the world if he doesn't get a weapon this week. And yeah, if like the fucking Bard bow drops again, maybe we can contemplate what to do with the coffer. If you think it's highly likely that you will just be poof most of the week next week. The other thing to bring up is Eli is looking to move on to some other group instead of just being a ninth wheel. So they've agreed to help us out this week, but I don't want to lean on Eli beyond that more than I have to. Because it would be rude.
We talk about that all the time, Mark. Remember, you can't breathe, you can't fight. Yeah, one of the strongest guys we got here, and he's proving it right now.
There's a lot more than intimidation, I can tell you that. He is
boy.
And he just had, man, look, those tattoos are unbelievable.
Well, that's an expression, I think, of his inner soul, because Brody King is mean. And sometimes in this business, to be successful, you have to be mean. Oh, Alex with the quick move. Using that ring to his advantage. Wow, that diving elbow just rocked Brody. There you Still can't get him off his feet. He's trying. Well, he's a smart man. He's got a strategy to try to take the legs out, bring him down to his level, chop him down like a tree.
Yeah, Reynolds, he's got to use his speed.
Oh my goodness.
Have some of that.
You were saying.
Oh, there it is. Monday normal might be 10 or 20 minutes late. That's the...
You did see that message from him?
Yeah, I dug it up and found it just now.
Yeah, that's what I
So we will continue waiting patiently. While we are here, they pick you up, I suppose.
Yeah, but when you got that size and that power, Alex Reynolds was outmatched just in size right there.
So, we talked about it like 5 minutes ago, but I think the sense is that there's not much to theorycraft beyond just having a plan for surviving and hitting the first set of towers in Sanctity. I left some slides in the Draft Slides channel as a speculative jab at the entire tower mechanic, but it still applies at a basic level to the first set of towers. And I want to know if what I posted looks intuitive or sensible or maybe different from what anybody else was thinking.
Was this a tower configuration we've seen so far, or just like something random?
Some of the configurations that I put slides out for were configurations that we explicitly saw.
Yeah, like in slide 1.
Slide 1, and much later in that deck, there's one that we saw had 2 towers on the inside, not 3, for instance. I believe I understand the rule by which the towers have to spawn in order for it to be at all solvable. So I'm just going to go with that assumption. I haven't seen any pattern that violates that.
What rule do you think it is?
It's what I wrote in the slides. Simply that it is possible to assign 2 adjacent towers to each buddy stack without infringing on anybody else's. Like, there are 4 possible tower positions that a buddy stack could run out from their ice to tag 5, technically, if you go for the straight cardinal. And there is never less than 2. And when there's more than 2, the extra is typically on the inside and can be handed off to a different buddy stack. Like, there's only 8 towers, right?
Are these slides just like permutations?
Yeah, there's like 4 different permutations to kind of test my rule set, right? And the rule set is a priority system. Basically what we were talking about. There's nothing really new there. But I don't think it's physically possible, say, for literally all the towers to fill all the possible positions on like one side, and then say the west opposite side, there's actually no towers that are clipped by their ice. Or anywhere near their ice. Like, I don't think that's physically possible in the mechanic.
It's hard to say, like, from what I've observed, I think you can have, like, any possible permutation of, like, the 4 inside and the 16 outside, I believe, like, any permutation of that filled with, like, 8 towers.
Imagine if you had 8 towers all on the outside, centered northeast.
Yeah. I know.
Right?
It would be fucked up for your rule, but I think it's possible. But I also think we just like wipe if we get that, because like
I think that's an
but I think we probably will wipe.
I think that's an instant wipe, and I don't think it's gonna do that. I don't think I've ever seen it.
I've never seen,
and I don't think that kind of pattern is actually solvable, given the time you have to get to a tower.
Not a lot of time, yeah.
Like, there is no decision making as to where you drop the ice. You cannot drop it in the middle, or you will fully cover some towers.
Yeah.
Like, end of story. Not to mention, there's the whole rest of the mechanic with Grino standing there waiting to do a knockback. Right? It makes sense aesthetically that the ice and fire are jailing in the inside people, and they have to adjust while the other outside people are also adjusting together to coordinate which towers get claimed and
I think like
all sorts out.
Maybe aesthetically there don't have to be inside and outside people, because like if you drop the ice, you can just have both people move outside, so it's not like.
That's true. There might only be like 1 or 2 towers inside.
Yeah.
And so there'll be buddy groups that are just both outside.
Yeah.
And that's fine. Like, that's solvable.
So yeah, I think these are just random tower combinations. Maybe there's a limit of like there have to be 2 on the inside, but I don't think there's any like structural limits other than like maybe at minimum there's 2 on the inside.
If you designate something like at minimum 2 on the inside or something, I think if you actually worked through the math, you would find that also consistent with mandating 2 towers within reach of every ice.
Well, not necessarily. Like, you can have 2 on the inside, and then you have 4 spanning from, like, north to east, and then, like, an extra just, like, southeast or something, right? Like, I don't think there's a structure on the placement.
Well, this is all idle speculation. I'm gonna hope there's structure to it, and if there isn't structure to this, in the sense that the inside towers can wiggle around a bit, at least there's a chance that anyone from any ice could go to any inside tower.
Yeah,
which is not true for any of the outside towers.
The main reason I think that is because, like, so far there have been no discernible patterns, and also, like, I know just from outside people have been talking and just saying, like, this fight, the fight design is just, like, really asshole-ish. Like,
I mean, the gaze mechanic going into the Dark Knight hopping is a bit of a dick move. Be real.
No, I think they've definitely, like, lessened their consideration for what is, like, easy,
Reasonable.
quote unquote, right?
Yeah.
Or, like, simple. Like, they don't care. As long as it's possible, it's viable. It doesn't have to be, like,
well, this is what I think is possible.
consistent.
I don't think if they did something where some configurations are just not realistically solvable, and you just are expected to wipe, that's bad raid design. That's not even being a dick or whatever. That's just,
I think they are just being
straight up bad.
But this fight.
I think streamers hype things. So far, the fight looks pretty comfy, honestly, especially because of the door boss. Nothing really comes across as insurmountable yet, or like shocking.
Not yet.
If you see a pattern like you speculate, where everything is crowded into a corner and a couple ice buddies have nowhere to go, then I'll start like seriously thinking.
Yeah, I won't say anything just out of consideration for everybody else, but like this fight is like an asshole fight, just straight up. Like,
have you been peeping?
No, I have like multiple friends that have cleared though, and they like say
they talk about
they talk about the fight. Like I make it very explicit not to like talk about the fight.
But they'll
about say like random stuff.
Yeah.
So like it's an asshole fight, right? Like that's become abundantly clear.
You know,
to people.
I had a lot of streamers and hardcore raiders talking shit about every new fight that comes out. They were saying E10S was a cancer for melee uptime, if you believe it. That's what they were saying week 1.
I mean,
I can't take them seriously anymore. I appreciate the hype.
But I mean,
I respect the hype. I appreciate it. Like, they're having fun, but
people like that, they talk about stuff and they mean like losing 2 GCDs over a fight is like cancerous, right? Like, I mean, objectively, like there's downtime in that fight, right? Like,
yeah, it's a slightly different,
like world ending.
It's a slightly different category. It's a slightly different category of person, I'll grant. Yeah. But there is a tendency, and streamers do this probably deliberately half the time just to stir up hype. So I'm absolutely in the camp of I will believe it when I see it, and until then, I refuse to be intimidated.
Based on what?
Steve Jobs.
Steve Jobs.
Ligma balls.
Ligma balls. I love that fucking meme so much. So utterly incomprehensible.
Well, I guess those 20 minutes might be 30.
Yeah.
He's on, isn't he? No, that's somebody else.
He's actually not.
Oh, Calypso is him.
No, it's different Callie. Hey, if you're still on the line, can you toss Link Shell lead to... I think you can add me as a leader, can't you? Since you're a leader on the Link Shell.
Let me see.
Or does it not work that way?
I don't think I can.
Oh, so my alts actually literally can't all be leads. Okay, that's fine. It doesn't matter.
Unless you want me to remake the Link Shell.
I think I'd have to pass you mastery over the Link Shell. And then you'd have to give... Well, not from this character.
But can you pass it?
I'm not sure. I don't necessarily think so. Yeah, there's no promote to master. There's only promote to leader.
What happens if you try to leave the Link Shell?
Then probably one of the leaders become master. I don't know.
We'll do that and then we'll...
I don't feel like it.
And we'll all leave until it gets to the right person.
Imagine.
I mean, if you really want, I could just make a new one.
No, I genuinely do not care. If I ever need to do any management, I'll simply log into that character. Did everyone see the chat about pushing P4 to Wednesday?
No, but I'll
care.
I'll do it whenever. I don't care. Yeah.
But basically that. You guys can do whatever you want for 1 through 3. We're not going to touch it as a group, I don't think.
Okay.
P4, we'll just skip to it or whatever. Or if anybody has gone ahead and done 1 through 3, then they can skip us into it. Right?
Yeah.
The only thing I can think of advising to do with all this spare time that we have right now is think about sanctity. Think about last week, your movement along the notches of the fence. And think about what we've seen for the first set of towers and our speculation on how to solve it. When we get in, we'll remind ourselves our clock spots just to be absolutely sure that there isn't a mix-up as far as buddies, right? Buddy cardinals. I'm not particularly worried about our ability to get there consistently. We've shown no sign of debilitating hiccups thus far. Just steadily getting better at things.
Get out of there, Nick! Do you want your money or not? Get out of there! He's fighting!
Looking to see if anybody had data mined any Xenos voice lines so that we could get the clean trigger. And they have, but only for the dungeon boss in Stormblood.
Oh, yeah.
And I just hear Xenos going,
that's
power to transcend.
So yeah, that's a mature meme. This test of your reflexes is relatively fresh.
Yeah.
I did posted the unclean version of it in memes, so at least you'll have that. But until we actually see a battle log for somebody getting slapped, I won't really be able to complete the trigger. Let's see if it works.
Not to worry, someone will get slapped.
Yes.
Man, flaming table! Flaming table! Good God! He runs the reverse DDT through the flaming table! In through pulmonary arteries. I am so happy right now. And Jericho. Oh my God! Oh! Going anywhere. And the bundle of light tubes. And the Judas. No. Scored. Kick out, Nick.
Perhaps a tree fell on Cal.
Jericho wins. Call the action, Jim. Come on. Get ready. Call the action. Wait, the action? What do you mean? No. What? I wait. No. Go. No. My God. My God. Oh, no. My God. Hangman Adam Page. Wow, look at this. Look at this. Oh,
Good news is only storms 2 days this week for me.
Oh, really?
I think we only have like 2 more weeks of this. And it should be pretty good weather as far as thunderstorms go.
What I can do is I can hit up Tanksta. If there's a likelihood that Walnut is going to be unavailable, Tanksta has basically been sitting on his hands and not really progging past phase 1, last I checked. So I'm sure he would be fine pitching in on Black Mage or whatever before he vanishes completely in June. That might be the solution.
Darby Allin is scaling that truss. Darby Allin.
If he hasn't been progging any Thornton, is that going to be?
That's what he said. That's what he said last week. It's better that he hasn't progged than potentially that he has, and he'll just be bored out of his mind. It's true. There will be some reprog potentially, but it shouldn't take too long. Certainly better than not running at all.
You're right.
We won't have to get any last minute gear for him. Just slot right in.
Kenny took that in the eyes, I think. Paradigm shift onto the floor. Moxley's out of his mind. Yep. Oh! My God in heaven. Get your ass back to Nashville. Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson getting battered by Moxley. Oh my God! Oh my God.
I don't think there's much variation to be had in how phase 1 is handled. If I imagine what the Pug standard has become.
Yeah, I imagine not. Unless people have found like some more sort of like governing rules on how the lasers or the PlayStation symbols get assigned, that'd be the only variance, I think.
I imagine they'll have different markers for the lasers, but functionally the same. I imagine PlayStation might be ordered differently because it's arbitrary. And there might be differences in where they drop the skyblinds, but all of that is trivial stuff.
A handful of thumbtacks for each of the Young Bucks.
And maybe different preferences for how you like position the boss at the very beginning, but that doesn't even matter.
Does not even matter. I'm sure people tank it differently, but fortunately,
right.
We do not have any tank subbing quite yet.
You said no 1 through 3 next week?
I would say no, unless someone has a very compelling reason. I don't think anyone actually needs anything.
I was just going through and making a tenacity set, but I'm not, like I said before, I'm not going to ask you guys to do that. I'll just do it myself.
I mean, it'll save you suffering. We could do something like that. What do you need exactly?
Oh, I'm putting the list together right now, just so I know, because I was planning on having the list made by tomorrow.
If there's something we can go in and snipe that is otherwise difficult to grab, like a pair of pants, then maybe we can do that. But we're not going in tomorrow, is the plan, so you have time to figure that out.
Yeah.
All the pieces in that alternative set just completely reversed because all the raid gear is unique, right?
I would imagine Biss is no tenacity, or very little.
Yeah, there's only a couple pieces. Tenacity is actually the 3rd best stat for warrior because it doesn't want skill speed or directed. So
yes, I remember.
They
buffed tenacity this expansion as well.
Yeah.
So it's a legitimately good stat. It always kind of has been for Prog, but... I was feeling really cruel or everybody was super bored. I could invite you all to do Ultima Unreal while we wait.
I haven't even done it.
I mean, it's a hot meme. Have you ever done it?
Nope.
In it. Oh, so you'd have to actually prog it.
Yeah.
Prog it.
I mean, we could probably carry you, but maybe that's not what you want out of the fight.
Mm-hmm. I've seen a tiny bit of the footage. It doesn't look like it was crazy hard or anything.
There's not too much to see, but if you go through it blind, there's some moments that are pretty hilarious.
Oh, I see.
Certainly when I took a group through it, we hilariously misunderstood something and made it much harder for ourselves than it had any right to be. But we cleared. That was back at level 50, though. Oh, I have a message.
Match found.
Here it comes. Brace yourselves, everyone.
Bracing.
So, he apologized and says it's going to be another 10 minutes.
Oh.
Oh, that's okay.
I thought you were about to say he apologizes, but he's not going to be able to make it tonight. I was
like,
damn, that sucks.
He seemed to be thinking that we had given up on him and gone in for a lockout already.
Oh.
But since he left us on the hook like that, I guess we didn't.
Yeah, no, man.
It's okay. It's good nap time. Y'all can spend more time staring at slides or whatever.
Jumping around aimlessly in Ul'dah.
Crafting some food.
As one does.
Ul'dah is your jump around city of choice, huh?
It's not. Forgot what brought me here. Oh, this A Journey to Remember quest for the event brought me here.
Oh, I need to do that too.
Yeah, that one's pretty involved. There's like 3 different fates.
It is actually super involved. It's cool, but also I'm used to these being like 7-minute affairs.
Yeah.
It's an old event.
But it checks out.
Flam is pretty niche, but it has its applications.
My power does not ebb.
Ask for aid, and you shall receive.
It's not diable. Very sad.
If it doesn't make me look like a prostitute, honestly, I'm not interested, but...
It does not, in fact, make you look like a prostitute, so...
Return to dust.
But I mean, you could just... Anything with the 2B pants can make you look like a prostitute.
Oh, this is true.
I did bump into someone in a roulette once who reminded me of you. Because he was wearing the same pants. As a bunny boy or something. Suitably.
I swear, every time I hear the Idleshire music, it causes PTSD.
Bagpipes. Wait, what? I don't even know what your PTSD is, but like rebuilding Idleshire or something?
No, it's more of the progging Living Liquid and stuff in Alexander.
Oh, and just standing there all the time. Simply do not.
Living Liquid's so easy.
I swear, we're gonna get to the other end of this, and we're gonna be like, kids these days are so spoiled. Back in my day, we didn't have door bosses.
Probably.
I mean, you're not wrong.
Fucking nail.
Jet grounded.
Yeah.
Can you open up your
Omen killed.
your slides? Go to slide 7.
Opponent killed.
Let's go to slide 7. Where is that? Oh yeah, it's the second step of its second case. This was a purely hypothetical case where I was thinking, how can the mechanic fuck with us?
Yeah. Why does the for group C? Actually, let me see.
There's comments in the text box explaining the logic of this particular application.
Why do for group C? Why does the white mage go to this top one in this case? Case 1, white mage goes to the bottom one. You want the praise to be intercardinal?
I think after I made this slide, I retroactively swapped prey from DPS to support. Remaining. There's literally no meaning for the white mage going up instead of down here. According to the rules I posted on the first slide, I suppose the white mage would actually go south, where the bard is.
Yeah, that makes sense. As long as it's just like just a mistake or something in this slide.
It's not really a mistake, because you can look at it this way. If support get the prey, perhaps the simplest way to think of it as a support in that moment is like, okay, I'm a DPS now. Right? With all of that, what that implies.
But you want prey to go to the outside?
I definitely want prey to go to the outside.
Yeah, we think.
Because rocks in the middle sound like a recipe for disaster.
Alright, that makes sense then.
And because of that, I want support who get prey to think, I'm a DPS now. And if I'm a DPS now, not only am I going outside, but I am adjusting counterclockwise if there's 2 towers outside. It keeps things kind of more coherent, instead of being like a half DPS, half support, and mixing matching rules. So...
No, that makes sense. I think there's... Didn't you say the meteors exploded last time?
They fell. The meteors fell literally pixel
on
for
top of each other?
on top of each other. Like they fell on corpses, or they killed the person they landed on, or whatever, or the person died in between the first and the second. Point is, the person didn't move.
Yeah.
So, I do not know the minimum safe distance.
Yeah,
I imagine
test, like right beside each other, but I have a suspicion we're gonna have to do them like north-south and then east-west.
I think the spacing between the first set of towers, like in slide 7, if Dark Knight and White Mage drop theirs on their towers right there, I hope
Hold on,
that
I can't
they will
click on the 7 for some reason. Alright.
I would hope that that is sufficient distance. Like, if it turns out the meteors are really cursed about exploding near other meteors, then we would have to enforce both sprint and a buddy float to separate the 2 prey. Yeah. But until we see that, I don't want to add more overhead to this.
We're definitely going to have to do that. 100%.
Hey, now.
There's no way.
Does the meteor leave a rock?
Yeah.
Yes, it leaves a rock.
So that's
and I'm aware of the safe distance of rocks in something like Nail. T9.
No, that's what I was getting at is I was just kind of looking at your thing here. It looks like I don't know, maybe not. Yeah. I was thinking the two towers on the outside. When we get the second set of towers, I bet you we're gonna have to drop a rock to make up for 2.
Make up for what?
Drop a rock on a tower to count as a person.
Oh no, there's 8 towers, so it's going to be 8 people. Especially with what is showing every sign of being a knockback from mid. Like, this looks like a complete picture of a fairly difficult Heaven's Fall mechanic. Like, it's not trivial to have the inside people coordinating with the outside people. Right.
Yeah, I'm just thinking of some bullshit examples.
Yeah. There's a certain elegance to this hypothesis and how it works. It'll still be fucky. Like, the first set of towers, you cannot just blindly look at the towers next to you and YOLO go inside as a support. There will be times where there's more than 2 towers next to you, and you have to look at your neighbors and see what they have access to. And potentially.
You not only care that like there's 2
if there's 2 on the
outside towers in my area, so I know like we'll have to have.
If there's 2 outside towers in my area, then I don't have to think, right? But if there's like 1 outside and 2 inside, I guess. Do I have to think?
I don't think so. I think
maybe
not thinking will like collapse in a chain down to the person that also doesn't have to think, but they're kind of forced to operate in like a kind of a weird way.
Well,
you know what I'm saying?
The thing is it won't be sequential, that's for sure. Right, everyone's gonna be doing everything at once. Like for instance, in slide 7, the group on 1, the scholar is gonna go to an inside tower. He knows that. He doesn't know that the gunbreaker. Wait, where did the scholar come from? Oh, the scholar came from 3, I guess. No, that kind of works.
No, I don't think anybody ever has to think about anything.
Well,
unless it's like some fucked up pattern, like they're all in 1/2.
Well, so here's what it is. The Scholar and the Gunbreaker both have to pay attention to who's taking the inside towers, right? Because if you look at this, the Scholar could have tried to take the tower on 4, right? But the Dancer is going there. And if the Scholar followed, like, blind clockwise rules, he would run to the tower on 4. And fuck the Dancer over, right? Similarly, the Gunbreaker might randomly decide...
if you do that, it's...
Go to 2.
As the Scholar would realize in a timely fashion that he's supposed to adjust counterclockwise in that situation.
All of the people in the Slider are adjusting counterclockwise as it happens.
Even if you do that, I don't think it's necessary, because the Dancer and Dark Knight can both take the towers in B, and nobody wants to take those. Like, the White Mage and the Bard will naturally go to the towers on B. Right?
The White Mage and the Bard will take the outside towers. I'm talking about the inside tower
no,
on B.
I'm saying the White Mage and the Bard want to go to the tower on B. So if they do, and if the Scholar goes to the tower that he wants to go to, and the Gunbreaker goes to the tower that he wants to go to, it's still fine. Because
then
the Dancer can just go to the towers on B, which is kind of naturally where they want to go.
No, like it's too far, is what I'm saying. If the Dark Knight and the Dancer both try to race to the outside of the arena to cover where the Dark Knight and the White Mage went, the White Mage is going to get there first, and the Dancer and the White Mage will collide. Because the White Mage is the one who has... I do not understand what you're saying.
Ignoring your rules that you've set up for how we want to do towers.
Yeah, ignoring the rules.
Not even ignoring that. Like, people want to go clockwise. So, the White Mage and the Bard will just go clockwise to the towers that they want to go to, including your rules, like...
Then where will the Black Mage go?
Following your rules, excluding, like, this counterclockwise stuff. Like, people, in the ideal world, people will just go clockwise, right?
Which slide we're looking at?
We're looking at slide 6 and 7, and he's speculating about just having a simple, blunt, everyone goes clockwise, brain-dead focus. And that fucks up the tower south of D that the Black Mage takes in my slide.
It'll fuck up,
because no one will be there to take it.
Yeah, like, there's nothing for the Black Mage to take clockwise, so he will have to go counterclockwise. So it'll fuck people up on 4 and B.
Right.
Like,
so
the Dark Knight wants to go to 4 or something.
This is the beginning of the rule set that I wrote up, basically. Yeah. Right.
Like, at the beginning,
I thought, like, oh, go clockwise. Then I thought, oh, there's exceptions to that rule.
There's not exceptions, other than if there's nothing clockwise.
Well, if there's nothing clockwise, or if clockwise means that your neighbor will then have nothing to go to.
Yeah.
Right?
I don't think the tower...
In that situation, that would come up with the Scholar. They would go to this inside clockwise tower, and then whoever the fuck, the Dark Knight or the Dancer, I don't know who has prey, it doesn't really matter. But one of those people will have nothing clockwise, so hypothetically they want to go to the tower on 4, right? Instead, they can just go clockwise, and they'll go to both of the towers on B.
And then the White Mage... Then the White Mage...
Clockwise. The White Mage is on D, on the inside D, and the Bard's outside D.
Fine. And then the Black Mage and the Gunbreaker.
The Black Mage has nothing to go to clockwise, so they'll go counterclockwise. And that's fine. And then the Gunbreaker goes clockwise, and they have something, and it's fine. I'll draw these paths for you.
I mean, so I can see how you've assigned everyone to a tower. I'm not sure there's enough time.
One problem I see is these towers aren't in the right position anyway.
Well, they're a problem. I think they are, actually. The size of the AoEs might be a little wrong, so that might be a little
that's kind of
right. Yeah, because the towers are like on the sides of the fire.
They are on the sides of the fire. What do you mean?
I mean, like, not at 180 degrees of the fire. Like, there's 2 towers for fire.
Well, there can be 2.
Oh, can there be a center one?
There's one on the inside.
There can be 4, in fact. No, you don't.
Well,
like on the tower on B, there can be one in between.
No, that I've never seen. You'd have to show me a screenshot. I've never seen that.
In the clips and snips, the 2 pictures I posted.
Show me
the second one.
Show me a photograph. Like, I don't believe it. I'm sorry.
He doesn't believe it.
I think perspective was fucking with you.
No. They were literally on the markers. I don't know what the markers are, like 4 and A or something. They were literally on those markers, and then there was one in between them as well.
Which one are we looking at in clips and snips?
He has MS Paint drawings, and they're all over the place. You have one tower showing up directly cardinal on on the inside. Like this last MS Paint
on the inside.
You have a tower showing up, the one that you've roughly sketched as being on the inside, the southeast fire. Obviously, it's not inside it, but you've sketched it as being directly west, on the west side of that fire. That would be on top of an ice.
That's just like me. That's inaccurate within positioning. But like I know for an absolute fact there can be 5 towers from west to north. Like in that situation where there's one directly northwest and directly north, and then one in between those. Like I know for a fact that is.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, you get the 2 towers around the fire, then there's that one in the center.
I have never ever seen a tower spawn on an outside direct intercardinal. That is what you are saying is something that can happen, and that is not something I have ever seen. I need a photograph to believe that.
Outside direct intercardinals.
Yeah. Like, in the photograph that I have up above, it would be in between the 2 towers nearest the viewer of the screen. That's basically what he's saying.
You got one right above. You got one in that picture there has one at A.
Oh, there's one at A, yeah. Cardinals, yes. Intercardinals, no. I've never seen them show up on raw intercardinals, is what I'm saying. I think the spacing of possible towers is fixed.
Yeah, and that's what I was trying to say, that there is no raw intercardinal, there's just the 2 towers around the fire.
Yeah. They make a triangle around the fire, and then there's potentially extra ones on direct cardinals.
Yes.
That is all I have ever seen. I mean, by all means, you got time, right? But
well, hopefully I don't have time. Well, hopefully Kyle shows up in 5 seconds.
Yeah, we hope for things.
That's what I was trying to say. Your diagram that you have here, you got the towers actually at direct cardinals. I don't know.
Yeah, that's something that I've seen.
Yeah, I don't even know how you would get a cardinal at direct position, because it would be like a little sliver between the fire and the wall.
It would be a position that is fundamentally farther to get to than literally every other tower that I've ever seen in all of these configurations. Usually these mechanics have a certain amount of symmetry where like you can see all the towers in my photograph, either they're on cardinals and they're not in a fire, or they're clipped by the fire by the exact same amount in the same way. Like the center of the tower is on the edge of the fire. Right? And that's just fundamentally not.
Yeah, because they're in the positions I thought that the Knights of the Round were in like regular Thornton.
I don't really remember where the towers could spawn in regular Thornton. I wasn't ever really paying attention.
In regular Thornton, they were in this like the center of the arena in a line.
No, there was an ad phase when they were kind of outside when we were dropping ice and breaking chains.
Oh yeah, that one.
Yeah.
Right after that, where he starts pushing you with the sword.
There's only 3 towers of that.
But yeah, there would be. Yeah, there's 16. Looking at what TK's got, there's 16 outer towers and 4 inner.
There are 4, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 possible outer tower spawn points and 4 possible inner tower spawn points. That is what I believe.
Yeah.
And they are evenly
there
spaced.
Can be two on the fire and then 2 cardinal. Well, I mean, like they can be cardinals or 2 on the fire.
There could be 2 on like either side of the B marker, for instance, on the outside.
So there's 12 spots.
And then there can be direct cardinals like A and C. And those are all equidistant towers.
Okay. Well, I deleted most of my recordings, so I guess
we'll just have to see it again.
That they're that I was just looking at it wrong.
Yeah, the perspective and the visual noise in that phase is not easy to deal with. So
we need to teach Cal in 10 minutes, man. See if there's a national standard.
Yeah,